Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Something crazy happened today. I've got something really exciting for you guys. A few of you will know I have a certain passion for the development of Guild Wars 2 and early builds of the game. I've done several videos now actually talking about like old trailer analysis and previous things we once saw may have been a feature, a part of the game, never ended up being one. Well, the Holy Grail landed on my plate today. The ability to look at a map we have never seen before that once existed north of Divinity's Reach. And I'd love to fly you guys through this map. I don't believe anyone aside from me and that shaman have seen this map so far, so should be very fun. But there's a bit of story in how we ended up finding this thing. And by we, I really mean he. He and Request Timeout pretty much did all of this, and I'm just able to now show it to you guys. So a massive thanks, sincerely, to both of those and everyone else who's really been a part of this. So just a matter of hours ago, a guy named Request Timeout posted on Reddit announcing the opening of a website they've made called Tyria 3D. Now, Tyria 3D is a really interesting concept. It allows you to take any current Guild Wars 2 map and even historical maps, or in the case of One Heart of Thorns map, new maps we haven't been to yet, and actually explore them and browse them in a web browser. Now, this is actually quite resource intensive. You can see right now, I'm kind of giving you guys a bit of a demo in the Battle of Kylo PvP map, and so he actually recommends you use this on specifically Google Chrome, but it actually allows you to explore these maps. Now, this kind of thing is really borderline. It seems like the kind of thing ArenaNet might not be happy about whatsoever, because they don't want, obviously, websites redistributing their assets, their textures, their models, and stuff like that. See, the nice thing about this website, though, that could perhaps mean it continues to exist for a long time now, is that it doesn't actually distribute any of those assets. Nothing we're looking at here are textures, none of it's even models that they're using in-game. Now, what we're actually looking at is extracted from the Guild Wars 2 DAT, the collision info, as far as I understand, collision info for the game. So, the way the game tells what you can jump on, what you can collide with, that layer that is applied to every map so that Guild Wars 2 knows what you can walk around on, that is what we're looking at. And so, of course, if you load all of this information intelligently enough together, you actually get these brilliant renders, basically, of entire maps. So, this is how the game views where you can walk. You know, if we actually come over to this point on Kylo, a really good demonstration here, are like these crates. Now, these crates we can't walk into, but if we were to destroy them, they disappear, and then we can walk past them. And so it's really kind of a cool-ish, maybe cheeky way of getting around this kind of copyright issue. ArenaNet still might not like the existence of this and might not exist for very long. That's kind of why I wanted to push something out now. I mean, let's face it, really, this is still ArenaNet's work and stuff being thrown out there. It's a very flimsy argument. And particularly because, as many of you may know, actually already downloaded on your Guild Wars 2 clients, if we have a look over on the top right here, you can select any map, already downloaded on your clients is one of the Heart of Thorns maps, the Verdant Brink. So we can actually click to this, and don't worry, there will be no spoilers here whatsoever in this video. We can actually click, and because all those assets are already out there, you could, in theory, then explore the new map, which is very big and very complicated and kind of incredible. Now, I didn't really want to touch this in particular. I think this could really ruin a lot of stuff. It's kind of like we get to, even though the beta's coming up very soon and we'll be able to explore a lot of this, I'd rather my first experience of this map, and I would recommend to many of you guys as well, to leave your first experience of this map actually be in-game where everything looks awesome. But absolutely, you can sort of scroll through and zoom into all the little nooks and crannies. You can line this up with maps we've seen that show points of interest and waypoints and stuff, and there are lists rolling around already that people have documented of hidden areas, jumping puzzle style stuff, a lot of interesting things. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to look at this map because, I don't know, I think if it was the website was borderline already, looking at this could be a bit too much. So, I started looking at other maps. Now, as I say, every map that has ever existed in Guild Wars 2 is available here. The guy has done an incredible job. So, let's look to Kryta, for example. We can click Queensdale. Queensdale's not a particularly exciting one to look at. But here, we will see, once everything's unzipped and loaded up, we can explore Queensdale. And so here we are in sort of the middle of the map. I can speed up my camera, but I won't for our sake. I tend to get reasonable frames while using this. I think you can drop very low if you have quite a poor GPU. But this is the garrison, obviously. This is where we would fight the first boss. That's the Divinity's Reach up there. Here's the field where you catch all of the rabbits. And you can really get in on a very small level, slow the camera down, and it's almost like you're exploring GW2. Not only this, but you can even do more interesting things, like if there is a sealed off area. So, for example, in Gendaran Fields, let's say, if there's a sealed off area that you should really only be able to access during personal story, by using something like this tool, we can kind of no-clip our way in and get all the secrets out of the game. So, where are we right now? If this is the Ascalon settlement, that means Lion's Arch is over here. There you got the not-so-secret jumping puzzle with the airship, which of course in-game is obscured by the cliffs and stuff, but because those cliffs don't have collision, they're not appearing on this map. But here, for example, a really classic example for me in Gindaren Fields is in one of these houses. Is it this one? No, this house is empty. Is it this one? Yeah, in this house, in the basement, if I try and go through carefully enough, you actually find a door here. Now, there's no way to get through this door, as you can see, because the door is represented on this map. But behind it, actually, I'm trying to get a good angle for you guys here, is a chamber. Here you go. So we can kind of move through. This will look kind of obscure and difficult to see for you guys. But it's a chamber, and this little mine shaft is actually a place in Gindaren Hills that you can't normally explore, but you could in one specific personal story quest, and there's really no way of getting in there. So that's kind of a cool thing. It will say explorers a little bit, but even better than this is the idea of looking at maps we can't get to anymore. So there's a few I want to run you guys through, some that I think look really interesting. I would encourage you guys to check this out for yourselves if you like. First of all, just one that looks kind of cool is fractals. You can learn a little bit about the way that the game works here. So we've got the mists. We've got fractals of the mist here. People who have broken out of fractals before will know, for example, that all fractals actually exist on the same map. And so fractals is actually a very, very, very large map. So here we go. This is the fractals of the mists. You've got the floating fractal on like the Asura, or almost like the Ratasum type area in the sky. You've got, if we come down, this is actually the hub here that we're slowly descending to. You'll see how slowly we're moving here. This is the hub. This is where we enter. This is Dessa's lab. And then we've got, you know, these little rocks all the way out here that we could never possibly get to. And then you have a bunch of other areas also. And you can just spend hours flying around here. You can see as ArenaNet have dropped these different things in. I believe this one here is the swamp. Looks like the swamp fractal with the Mossman, yeah, and the Bloom Hunger there, which is obviously down near the water level. You got some of the Aetherblade retreat stuff. It's pretty phenomenal. So this is the Ascalon fractal over here. And you can just kind of go explore. But what's even better, though, is stuff like if we go back to Kryta, for example. I'm so bad at navigating this. You have the Tower of Nightmares. The Tower of Nightmares isn't something that players who skipped Living World Season 1 would ever have seen. The Tower of Nightmares is why you see all that rubble and destroyed stuff in Keswick's Hills nowadays. And it was this giant, awesome, explorable tower that you could climb all the way to the top of. It was like a daily chest you could get up there, that ArenaNet added. And not only can we once again kind of see the Sprout, see what Scarlet was doing, see the old labyrinth we used to walk through, this cool old map that maybe won't return for a long time until they re-implement Season 1, but you can even sort of explore outside of it and see this crazy weirdness all the way over here and whatever the devs were trying to make. So it really is looking behind the curtain here, and of course if that doesn't really excite you, then I wouldn't spend too long, because it probably can ruin the odd thing. But let's keep looking in the spirit of maps that we maybe can no longer see. Another cool one I was actually hoping the idea of, but it doesn't seem to be implemented. There's two Lion's Arches here. I was liking the idea of old Lion's Arch, but apparently these are just the two Scarlet versions of Lion's Arch. We can load one up here while I move on to the next. Might be a bit hard to recognize, but this is the destroyed statue here. This is the Breachmaker down in the water. And there are countless more examples like this. You have the Mad King's Realm, a place that we really shouldn't be able to explore ever unless it's Halloween. Well, it's still there, sat in your clients, and you can have a look. I won't go through every single one of these, but you've got the Mad King's Clock Tower. You've got the Ascent to Madness here, which was the original map we killed the Mad King on in the first Halloween that has been cut from the two subsequent Halloweens. This is where we would grind for hours and hours and hours on that first Halloween looking for some special Black Lion skins. You've got the Molten Facility and Aetherblade Retreat non-fractal versions still out there. I kind of like the idea of maybe the old Eternal Battlegrounds. Now, those obviously don't exist in our clients anymore. So here comes the most interesting thing. This is where things get really peculiar. What happens if you extract information from a really old Guild Wars 2.dat that hasn't been updated, people might still have hanging around? Well then, yeah, you could find old Lion's Arch. You could find an old version of the Borderlands. What else can you find? Well, it turns out we don't even have to look that far to find something very old and very exciting to me. Currently in our clients are a couple of maps we've never really seen. One of them is actually on the default website. It's this thing here under PvP called Newly Added. So this is a PvP map we haven't seen before. This is it. It looks kind of like a mid-sized deathmatchy arena almost. It actually reminds me of a Halo 1 PC map, funny enough. But is this a Conquest map perhaps? Something else that they were once toying with that we may end up seeing or not? Actually, that Shaman did link an image that we saw. Remember when they were originally doing that live stream about this time last year on ReadyUp, where they were talking about potential future game modes? They gave us some screenshots of various maps that they were working on, and one of them does look suspiciously like this. I'll throw it on the screen here for you guys now. So that could be what we're looking at. But then there are a few other maps too. Now, the first of them is here, and this you might recognize from early discussions the devs were doing on the idea of activities. They actually mentioned the idea of something called Basket Brawl. And this looks like the map we never saw for that game type. And so here you go. You can see we get some kind of a court with two kind of hoops here. This was a Guild Wars 2 map, and this still exists in our clients. And it's kind of got an interesting design about the place. Will we see this in Heart of Thorns at last with adventures and various leaderboards and overhauls to the activities, the introduction of the archery shootout and so forth as they've been talking to us? Or maybe not. This was pretty exciting, but even better, between the map IDs for Queensdale and Kessex Hills, there is a new map. Now, this isn't the first we've heard of some kind of a new Crichton map that never ended up in the game. In fact, Guildmag did an interview quite recently, you guys should be able to see here, where Drax actually asked, hey, in Guild Wars 1, basically Kryta was a lot more than what we're seeing in the game now. Was there ever more of Kryta planned? And they actually said, Jeff here says, right above Divinity's Reach area, where we did not see fruition on, because we were basically looking what we need to do for producing the game. So the answer is yes, Kryta is larger than what you see in Guild Wars 2, but what you've got in the game right now is the core. That's the heart of Kryta right there in the game. And even better than that, again, you guys might recognize this from an old video I did talking about old Crichton stuff. We were looking at Divinity's Reach in the original maps, like the actual art map in the very earliest versions of the game. We had, of course, the Divinity's Reach waterfront area, which ended up getting cut also, but I have specifically mentioned you guys before about the fact that north of the Plaza of Grenth, if we look up here, there seems to be some kind of a bridge leading north out of Divinity's Reach. Well, so we've had this, which has always kind of hinted they might have had something more. We've had Jeff Grubb saying that, yes, at some point something was planned more. Now we can view maps that are hidden in our clients, bloat, essentially, that has been in everyone's Guild Wars 2 client since the day they downloaded the game, but has always been unused. We can explore said map. So this is the unnamed map, a part of Kryta that never ended up in Guild Wars 2. I can explore it a little bit for you guys. It seems like quite a small map, and there doesn't seem to be too much going on. Of course, this was cut from development, but this is a pretty cool little exploration of it. Again, this isn't on the main website I'm featuring here. This is something extra we did to be able to present it to you guys. So here you can actually see what we're looking at is the Divinity's Reach North Bridge. This here is Divinity's Reach. This is an old model of it, actually very different to what we've ended up getting in-game. It seems even from the very first trailer of Guild Wars 2, you can see, Shaman pointed out, Divinity's Reach does look very different in that earliest trailer, and then they obviously changed it a lot. But what we're looking at here is Divinity's Reach. We can see the high bridges just here at different heights and so forth, and obviously a little different to what we ultimately had. But this is the city. This is the city, and just to the north of it, we do have this bridge crawling out from Grenth, coming down to what appears to be some kind of a small village-looking area here. We've got some small structures and rolling hills off to the north. Now, you might not be convinced, hey, Wooden Potatoes, is this really, I mean, how can you be sure that's Divinity's Reach? Yeah, there's the high bridges. If you're not still convinced, though, you'll notice that it's got a giant moat of water around it, and on either side of this giant moat of water, we have dams. Here's one dam. You can see it just over there in the distance, which obviously we wouldn't be able to climb over. And if I pan, I guess we'll try and go over the city here. You'll actually find that there's another dam. These are the Western and Eastern Divinity dams. You can see these in Queensdale. You guys should see some footage of that right now, if you like. So this is the map that was going to go north. This wasn't even just a map that was planned to go north of Divinity's Reach. This was wrapping right around it. This was allowing us to explore all of the Giant's Basin and the sides of the city full told. And here actually you'll notice this wall is not destroyed in any way, though there's some rubble here, so maybe it should have been. But this would suggest, you know, this is where the Great Collapse should have been, so maybe this was even before the Great Collapse was an idea. But here you go, you can see the other dam off over there. Obviously, with what we're doing here, we can just kind of see what the buildings were going to be like. So we're going to have some kind of little town here, a Claypool type style area, for example. And obviously we don't get any NPCs. We don't know what they had planned for hearts. We don't know what they had planned for anything, what events there were. And this as well is an area we never even got to explore in Guild Wars 1. So, you know, what this mysterious gate here is leading to an odd cave. Was this supposed to be a dungeon at some point? Who knows? Really, we can just look and gawk at it. Here you go, you got another one. We got some kind of old ruined settlement here. Maybe this could have been a very old Crichton location, a little bit like Demetra, for example, which we only ever saw once it had become a ruin. We've obviously got a lot of water from the Giant's Basin. We've got some kind of weird destroyed tower here. I don't think we're actually going to see any totally unique assets like this bridge. I think is something we will have seen from elsewhere, but nonetheless, this is all pretty damn cool. They also hadn't sculpted out, as you can see, as it would seem, any future area even further north of this, unless maybe this river even, which I hadn't seen before, was supposed to lead to it. But yeah, this is it, guys. How crazy is this? And who knows what else is in our clients. Now, obviously, the existence of that Verdant Brink map being in our clients, it worries me a lot. I kind of wish this website was posted without actually showing the Verdant Brink stuff. So here we got like an underwater cave here, which we can come out into. And who knows what was here? Looks like there's some kind of loot or campsite that we had here. What story did they had planned for us? Oh my god. I don't think you can see anything that's identifiably a jumping puzzle for what it's worth. This looks like it might be a bit of an exit to the map, or it could just be that the hills themselves aren't very very harsh. But who knows what's else in our clients? You know, I hope that ArenaNet aren't too worried about Verdant Brink being there and the fact that it is pretty spoilery for players. I think if they ever get really offended by it, it'll probably be that. But having some kind of a tool to be able to look at these old things like Basket Brawl is just so exciting to me. I just cannot imagine. Imagine if someone could use this on a really old Guild Wars 2 .dat from the original friggin' demos we had at Gamescom. If someone had one of those lying around, it would really give us some serious clues into what they've been developing for the game. But yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Here we got another little area. I can explore these places all day. Many maps are available, and as long as, you know, ArenaNet aren't too angry with it, I'll keep you guys in the loop. Let you know actually how this is received, I suppose. And what we might end up doing, just look at this place, is we might have another look as more maps are revealed, as more maps are found, and because this was just randomly there, right? It's always been there, but no one sort of knew about it. And if there is a lot more interesting stuff, I guess I'll keep you guys in the loop. There you go, guys. This has been Tyria 3D. A couple of maps. I guess we'll end as well before I do my outro, just because I know a lot of you guys want to see it. Yes, Super Adventure Box is available on this. The hub is there, World 1 is there, World 2 is there. Obviously, you don't get the textures, so you lose a fair amount of the flavor of the maps. But yes, this is Super Adventure Box. If we were to zoom down far enough, you would start finding areas that you recognize. And that can be pretty cool as well for a bit of a nostalgia trip. You know, this is really, really powerful, very, very exciting, and yeah, I guess you guys can go check it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I guess I will see you next time, maybe for some more stuff like this. Let me know. Cheers, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.